See if there's anything else interesting here. There's at least one bridge that's still standing on this line. There it is. Right there. And in any case, there's Poland. That was the end of the line initially before William Seward Webb took over. And there was a line to Prospect right there. It's not marked here. I don't really see where the grade is. But if we go up to Remsen, you can see where the Herkimer and Newport and Poland came in. Right here. Prospect Junction, basically. And if we go up the line further, this incidentally is Remsen with the preserved depot here, which is really a rebuild, not really a preservation, if you want to be really strict about it. If we go up north here, we find Snow Junction. And if you go this way to the northwest, this is the former Utica and Black River, later part of the Rome, Watertown, and Ogdensburg, which goes to Boonville and Lyons Falls. Now that's run by the Mohawk, Adirondack, and Northern. If you turn to the east, you're back on the Mohawk and Malone, now the Adirondack Scenic Railroad. And once the New York Central took the Mohawk and Malone over in 1893, most of the through trains actually went on this line over here. The Utica and Black River, later Rome, Watertown, and Ogdensburg, later New York Central. Going down to Utica, I'll zoom out a bit here and just speed things up a little. So you go through Marcia and so on, and here's Utica. Utica's always had a pretty big railway yard. It was larger when the Mohawk and Malone was new, but you can see where the Mohawk and Malone comes in there. Or rather, the Adirondack Scenic comes in. It's the former Utica and Black River, as I said. And it's now run by the Mohawk, Adirondack, and Northern Railroad, which took it over in 1992 from Conrail. They are in turn owned by Genesee Valley Transportation. And these facilities here, it's extra platforms beyond Utica Union Station here, are actually for the Adirondack Scenic, not for the Mohawk, Adirondack, and Northern, because Mohawk, Adirondack, and Northern's facilities are over here. There is also another railway line that runs into Utica, aside from obviously the old New York Central main line here, which is now controlled by CSX. But the other railway line is the former Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western, which is now controlled by the New York Susquehanna and Western. And part of it actually goes right down the middle of Schuyler Street here. It's hard to see on Google Earth, but if you look very carefully, you can see the tracks are embedded in the street like tram tracks. That's a story for another day. It's one of the old roundhouses. I don't know if this one dated to New York Central or Rome, Watertown, and Ogdensburg. It's not presently serving as a roundhouse. This yard here is used by New York, Susquehanna, and Western. This is not a roundhouse. This is actually the Utica Memorial Auditorium. It's never had any railway application that I'm aware of. But anyway, if you get on a service for Thendara from Utica on the Adirondack Scenic, this is where you get your train. And let's just zoom back up to Remsen here. Actually, on the day that I took the video I'm about to show you, I didn't actually take the train from Utica. I was up in Old Forge, New York with my parents, and we decided to take the excursion train from Thendara-Otter Lake. This is the route up from Utica anyway. This is the old Mohawk and Malone. And it's a little ways up. Where am I? This is Otter Lake, where they have a passing siding there for the excursion trains. When I was working on the Adirondack, we only ran excursion trains to Otter Lake, and the last couple of years I was there, basically 1998 through 2000. I did a little bit of volunteering through 2002, if I'm remembering right. But most of my work with the Adirondack was from 1992 to 2000. Anyway, if we go up to Thendara here, if you want to take an excursion train on the Adirondack, you can presently leave from Thendara and then take you down to Otter Lake and back. You can see the grade of the second Fulton Chain Railroad here, going to Old Forge. The tracks are not actually there. If you zoom in, you find tracks have been gone a long time. They've actually been gone since 1932. So it's surprising, in my opinion, that you can even still see the grade. But one of the cool things I did find, which I've never actually walked in real life, one of the bridges is still in place. If we follow the line, see, it's actually been preserved there. There's a bridge. Probably not the original bridge, but looks a little bit too flimsy to be a railway bridge, but it's a cool little preserved feature. And then if you take it all the way into town, you end up in the swimming area and the docks here. And way over here, this is the exact location of the Old Forge station, even though the station building here is not the real thing. It looks like the real thing. If we go to Street View, this will let me. That looks like a station, but that's actually tourist information. It's not actually the original station building, as far as I know. Somebody could correct me on that. That could be just a heavily modernized rebuild of the original station, but as far as I know, it's not the original station. And right across the street is McDonald's, if you wanted a landmark to find it by. You might need the tourist information anyway if you go to Old Forge. It's a nice little town to visit. But if I zoom back to Thendara here, Thendara Station is there, the old freight house is there, the new engine house from 1992 is here, which is a rebuild of the old Adirondack Railway Corporation engine house from 1979 and 80. And the railway line used by the excursion trains, going back down it again here, originally was only used by the Adirondack Centennial Railroad to Minnehaha, which is only a little hamlet down here. I'll show it to you in a minute once we get to it. There it is. You see, you can barely see what's there, but there's a house there. We actually knew the people who lived in that house when I worked on the Adirondack. And we would stop right about here, and then we would reverse direction back in the old days. Actually, correction, we would stop here. The old station was here. It wasn't still in existence when we were running that line, but we would stop here symbolically before the crossing, and then we would turn back. Later on, we extended the route over the Moose River here for the view. We would turn back from here. But starting from 1998, we ran all the way down to Otter Lake because we had a between 25 and 40 mile an hour speed limit by that point, so it was much easier to do. And so on the video, we're going to see that route via McKeever and some other little hamlets along the way. There's Otter Lake. All of this, incidentally, is part of the town of Webb, named after William Seward Webb himself. The Otter Lake station no longer exists, but this little shop here was used as a de facto station building with station signs for a number of years. One of the volunteers actually owned the shop. And there's Otter Lake itself, but the trains from Thendara to Otter Lake are excursions. They're not really services in the sense of taking people places. I will actually have to continue this in the next video.